right, everybody. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here. And of course, I'm joined as always with both of my co hosts, Darian Smith and Jimmy Marion. And we've got an exciting episode for you guys today. It's homecoming. UAB's back home, welcoming in the Tulsa Golden Hurricane to Protective Stadium. But before we get into previewing this episode, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel at BlazerPod, go ahead and click the link below to subscribe. The next milestone for us is going to be to get to 500 subscribers. So I think at 500, you are able to monetize a little bit with YouTube, if I understand correctly. So right now we are currently at 311. Hey,
we gonna be rich. 500 subscribers. Let's go.
Hey, let's get to 500 so we can make a couple bucks a month.
Let's go. Be
hey, yeah. And shout out. I know this is a football episode. This is gonna be a very short football episode, by the way. Monday morning, we dropped a banger of an episode previewing the 2024-2025 UAB basketball team with Andy Kennedy. If you somehow missed that episode, at the end of this episode, we'll include a link at the end, but definitely go back. Almost an hour-long episode with Andy Kennedy. I don't know any head coaches in whether it's football, basketball, wherever is going to give anyone almost an hour-long interview. And you know, I've heard great feedback. We've heard great feedback about that episode, and it's a lot of great information in that episode. So definitely go back and check that out before Monday's game, season opener game, as UAB welcomes the Vermont Catamounts to the Bartow Arena.
Yeah, and John, we always be fair in giving credit and criticism for each game because we're just looking at like game by game what we're looking at. But you can never make me dislike Andy Kennedy, like never. How respectful he was and how he just recognized what we did, how he recognized the UAB listeners, like the ones that pay attention to us. He really understands that part. Like he gets it. It's hard to explain, but he understands how to talk to the base, and he knows that we're another vehicle to get that done. So I really respect the respect that he has, not only for us, but for y'all, the listeners. And that's how you do it. It's like a real grassroots type of thing. And no matter if it's good or bad season, it ain't about wins and losses all the time. It's about just being understood and being seen, especially by the people that we help employ in a sense. So we appreciate you so much, Coach Kennedy. That was a banger, a lot of info. It was fun. It wasn't awkward. It was super fun. So y'all go check that out if you haven't, and let us know what you think.
Definitely. Jimmy, I didn't know if you were going to jump in. I know you come up.
No, I was going to say, no, just to piggyback off of what Darian said, hey, if we want to just continue talking about basketball, that'd be awesome to me. But just I appreciate the transparency by Coach AK. And, for any fans out there that are just trying to understand, like, how do you navigate this new college landscape involving NIL and where to contribute, Andy Kennedy, in my opinion, makes that very clear. He's very transparent about the challenges with a program like UAB. And so if you're looking for information on how to not just cheer on the Blazers, but to contribute in other ways, I think it's an excellent episode. I would definitely encourage you to listen closely as to what AK is revealing to us as UAB fans, and appreciate y'all's support. And to John's point, I think that video is already at like 415 views, somewhere along those same lines. And so we just appreciate everybody tuning in, but we encourage anyone that has not yet done so to check out that video and give us a thumbs up on this video as well. Hit that like button. That helps us show up more on, I don't know why it always says, if anybody that's watching the video, we got some type of balloons that are going up. I don't know how to do that again. But what was I saying? It
Why
helps us.
can't
The likes help us in the recommendations for people that view this type of content. So please hit that like button in addition to hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already.
Well said. And again, if you haven't already, that those that have listened, make sure to check out the Southside Solution and help support the UAB men's basketball program. Well, all right. Let's jump into football. Is the Tulsa Golden Hurricane come down to Protective Stadium for homecoming? It's Children's Harbor. You know you're going to see those sweet jerseys with the patients' names on the back. Really great cause. And really, I know this season, football season, has not gone the way any of us and anyone have anticipated. But I think this is one of the greatest traditions in college athletics, this Children's Harbor game for homecoming. Each year, UAB reps the patients' names on the back of those jerseys, those kids' names. There's going to be a game played, so they are going to play some football. Tulsa comes into this game. It's again Saturday at 1:30. Hopefully you can make it out to Protective Stadium. If not, it'll be streamed on ESPN Plus. Tulsa comes into this ball game 3-5 overall, and coming off of a huge comeback win, and getting their first win in the AAC this past Saturday over UTSA. UAB obviously coming into this ball game, not only looking for their first win in the AAC, but looking for their first FBS win. And that's so crazy to me. We're in November. This will be November 2nd, Saturday, and UAB is still looking for its first FBS win of the season.
John, not just of the season, but it's almost been a full calendar year. November 18th, 2023. I'm going to get me a tattoo. Was the last time that UAB football defeated an FBS opponent.
God.
It's almost been a full calendar year, my friend.
Dude, and I think Jimmy, you had texted us during last week, during the bye week, was like UAB's had more bye weeks than they had wins entering this week, and that's crazy.
Yeah, into November. We're in November, and we've had more bye weeks than we've had wins. These are the thoughts that go through my head, and just lead to me walking aimlessly on my street.
Every time I hear y'all talk, I feel a sense of like almost guilt because of our expectations, especially mine. Right, like at the beginning of the season, what we thought, what we thought we were seeing. Some of the stuff is what we were being told, but I was there and I was able to see some stuff, and I'm like, I thought that it would. It's something that happened with the leadership and breakdown, but I thought that it would translate to some wins. I really did. So I just feel, I feel bad in a sense. That's all.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, but if every person listening should feel bad about how this season has gone. I mean, it wasn't just us. I mean, what was the Vegas win total? I mean, it was still 6.5 entering the season, right?
6.5, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say there were high expectations, but I mean, damn sure should have had a couple wins by now. But is what it is. Also, hey, Tulsa up until last week was struggling almost just as bad as UAB, but. Well, really, entering the second half was struggling because UTSA in this ball game had a 35-7 halftime lead, and the second half just blew it. I mean, I think if any fan base understands what we're going through, I think that's the UTSA fan base. And we feel for our guys at the Alamo Audible. I listen every week, and they were Jared and Adrian were talking about this past game with Tulsa and UTSA is UTSA's worst loss in program history, and that's just
I gotta go back and listen to. I didn't listen to that
one.
because I'm sorry, guys at UTSA. I feel like we've been trauma bonding.
Yeah.
FAU is down there with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like, man, we came over here and. I don't know, UTSA had that solid year last year, and then it's like down the drain. And then just hearing Coach Traylor he's been kind of just like kind of complaining about
Yes.
NIL a lot. It's kind of weird. I don't know, man. Things maybe this is college football nowadays, as we know it, man. I don't know. I'm trying to see how to feel about us within this land in this new landscape, because at the same time I'm seeing other G5 teams be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to. I don't know. I know NIL is a thing. I mean, you can hear Coach Kennedy talk about it, and you hear Coach Traylor has been talking about it for a while, especially comparing to like Memphis. And it's kind of get to the point, it's like, do we get it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, like, that's a big thing, you know. So I honestly, John, like, I'm starting to kind of trying to recalibrate my expectations, or I don't even know how I'm supposed to feel about college football now, because the whole landscape in general has changed. So is it coaching? Is it recruiting? Is it development? I don't know what I'm supposed to expect. I'm just, maybe because we're getting our eyes beat out so bad that I'm just, my mind scrambled. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. Yeah.
One
Jim.
thing I find interesting is just to look at the second year coaches in the American Athletic Conference. So there was a lot of coaching changes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Recently, to be parallel with the Trent Dilfer hire. You've got the South Florida head coach, Alex Golesh. You had Biff Poggi. You had Brian Newberry, who's promoted. Eric Morris, Kevin Wilson at Tulsa, whom we're going to face this week. Tom Herman, and of those coaching hires, I would say that Tom Herman and Trent Dilfer are going to be right there side by side as it relates to overall success. Tom Herman was 4-8 in his first year. He's 2-5 this year, winless in the American Athletic Conference. But some of these other guys, including a Kevin Wilson, like, kudos to him for getting his, I think if I heard you right, John, his first conference win of the season. And you've got guys like Brian Newberry who have completely, turned that Navy program around. Even a guy like Biff Poggi. I don't know his record offhand, but he's been respectable.
Yes. Should have beat Memphis this past week. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. Alex Golesh, South Florida's not playing their best right now, but they got their number one guy offensively, injured, but UAB just lost them. And Eric Morris, I think he was an OC from maybe Washington State. I'm going off memory here. He's got that team playing well. Went on the road. I mean, how about one of those underrated wins of the season, to go out in the first week and beat a good South Alabama team on the road and beat them handily? So, I mean, you have these second year coaches that have, I don't know if Tulsa's won a road game.
They've won
Have
one.
they?
Yeah.
So
Well, it was at La Tech, which is a struggling CUSA program right now.
speaking of bangers, that was what, 3-2 at halftime last
Oh
night, like
man,
9-3 or whatever it
13 or
was.
yeah, ugly,
Who knows?
ugly.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that so? Going back just to tie it into what we were just talking about, like, I totally agree. The landscape of college football is so crazy today, and it only just makes everything worse when you're losing. If we were winning, and these programs that do win, it becomes less of an issue. But what's just disappointing is that um, the way UAB is not being competitive in matchups against teams that don't benefit from NIL, ULM, Navy, Army, just for examples. And so it's like that, you can take that out right away. If we struggle, which we likely will against Memphis, and we lost to Arkansas, although we were competitive against Arkansas, it's just this back and forth mind bender. But winning cures all. If UAB is able to get a win this week against Tulsa and to get some momentum, that's cool. That'll help some. But yeah, college football is definitely confusing these days. UTSA, by the way, I haven't paid as much of attention. I've seen the stuff on like X, but I'm just at such a low position as it relates to UAB football. Every time I see them complain, which they have the reason to do so, I'm just like, would you like to switch places? I'll take Jeff Traylor. Thank you.
Well, what's confusing is you got coaches like Jeff Traylor and you got coaches like Mike Norvell that experience so much, success, like recently, sustained success recently, and then it's just like, woo, fall off a cliff, right? For those type of programs, and I'm just like, oh, those type of coaches, and that's just something I've always been of the understanding that if you have a certain caliber coach and they have a certain system set up and everything is going well, that you kind of have a high floor in a sense. Like that's kind of how I look at certain coaches. Like people love Saban a lot because his floor was always high. It's probably 2 losses at max in the season, and it's like a heartbreaker if that. Right. Same for like the Kirby Smarts, and look at Coach Signetti that went from JMU to Indiana. Indiana's not defeated. It seemed like he just has even Coach DeBoer, people so mad at him at Alabama now. It's like it's 2 losses, but you look at his overall record at Fresno State and all these other places. These type of coaches, from the Signettis to the Sabans, they have a high floor. So when I'm thinking that Norvell had made his way up there, and then I mean they went undefeated, and it's like bam, you guys suck. Right? And it's just kind of like that's the same thing. I'm looking at UTSA and I'm just like, they're not bad. They suck. I mean, I know what it looked like because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it from my team. We suck this year. And I was so used to a high floor when Bill Clark was here. At least some kind of a high floor for us. We had some kind of expectation to at least try be competitive to make a bowl game. We was going to compete in almost every game, And so all that to say is I'm trying to figure out how are we supposed to be upset? Like, or is this expected, or do we got to wait? Yes. This is why I am upset. And I know we're going to get to Tulsa soon, and we talk about it a little bit, I guess. But I'm upset is because I feel like it's competition. I keep on repeating the same message. That I feel like every time we get on here, it's not about the wins and losses. It's about how we look in those wins and losses. At least get to that part first, and then let's start getting upset about the wins and losses. I just want to compete, man. Like I don't want to look some of the ways we looked against South Florida. We was just trying to outbad each other, and we found a way to outbad a bad team. I'm afraid if we going back to Tulsa. Tulsa was able to find their good and come all the way back from 35-7. We haven't been close to doing anything like that this year for whatever reason. I am so confused. Right? We don't even know who's going to be playing week to week. We don't know. We don't even know what's going on with Zeno's non-throwing shoulder. It's just a non-throwing shoulder injury. We don't know anything.
Where is Zeno?
It's like, is he like a trench coat with a hat on, like with a shadow on him? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out, can we compete? I do want to say this though. About Trent. People can say a lot of things about him. I've said things about him but I do know that I'm gonna respect any man as a father that was able to push on after losing a child, right? And I know this cause what we play for. I know this means something for him. If it means something for anybody, it means something for him. And his homecoming. So there is a little bit of expectation there. I expect some kids to be motivated. I'm not expecting a win. I'm throwing all the expectations out, but I'm expecting, some try hard out there for my team. I expect to be competitive. That's what I do expect.
I tell you what's not going to help with NIL is if you bring in recruits with the understanding that they're going to get NIL payment, and then when they arrive, you don't pay them.
Yeah,
that's right.
Stuff like that happens.
Just want to let that one breathe a little bit.
Yes, 100%. Man, if you lose this, if you're UAB and Trent Dilfer, if you lose this game, you drop to 1-7. Bowl games out the window. I mean, it's going to snowball if it hasn't already. I hear. I can already see the YouTube comments. I can already see the messages that we're going to receive. Like, if it hasn't already, snowballed.
Isn't there some type of opportunity though, if there's not enough bowl eligible teams? Like maybe if we have 5 wins, and they could look at our academics and community service and say, of the teams that have 5, like we could potentially get into a bowl game. Is that possible?
I mean, if you're Rice, it's possible. But This is we talked about South Florida being a winnable game. This is a freaking winnable game. In fact, Vegas has UAB favored for the. When's the last time UAB's been favored in a game? Was it ULM?
What is the spread right now?
Gotta be ULM.
It's 3. Yeah, it's 3 right now. UAB is a 3-point home favorite. I mean, I guess that is kind of because they all this the saying is, you know, the home team gets 3 points. Is that the saying? So
it's that home crowd. It's the home field advantage of Protective
Blazer Thunder entering the fourth quarter. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And Jonah,
I want somebody to create a shirt, Blazer Victory. It's got the Michael Jordan meme face on somebody doing the Blazer Thunder like in the third quarter score.
Let's go, baby. Hey. Oh man.
Jonah Delane. No. Jonah DeLonga is about to go.
DeLonga, yep.
He's about to go. I come to the games to see Jonah. We might get a 57-yarder. We might get something close. Don't get me pumped up. The best player on the team, Jonah DeLonga, is finna.
Yes.
Oh wow, seven of these bad boys.
7 field goals. Oh my gosh. I mean, if he's 7 for 7, hey, let's go. We're gonna be in the stands pumping up. Well, I'll be in the stands.
Were you there? You're gonna be there.
Hey, I will be there for Jonah DeLonga, 7 for 7, game-winning field goal. Hey, let's go, baby. Let's go.
You know what time is the game?
It's at 1:30. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna talk with the wife, whatever. You know what? This is our program, damn it. We're gonna go have a good time. No matter what, you know, I don't want the family to go. They ain't gonna want to go. I'm gonna ask my wife, hey, mind if get some bro time, you know, let's go. I'm trying to knock back a couple drinks.
Let's go.
Hey, we're gonna have some fun because it's a great cause. I want everybody to at least remember the cause. So hey, listen, come on, the rest of our listeners, let's go to the game. It's homecoming. It's for a great cause. This might be the only game we can actually win going forward. Because I thought UConn at the beginning of the season. I doubt it. I don't know. You know. I don't. Jesus is my Lord. He's done. He's created. It's been miracles before. Maybe. Let's talk about that. This is interesting. What if we start winning? What if we start winning from here on out? How do we? This is because we ain't talking about the football game. There's no reason to talk about the game. What if we do win this game and then we win next game?
Candy corn.
I swear, if we win 2 games in a row, I would eat candy corn.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
It got to be.
It's candy corn season, man. That's why this season, I feel like John Valekis was at before the South Florida game. He was like, man, I haven't heard any talk about candy corn. That might be what's wrong with this season.
That's a stretch.
I mean, not really. I mean, we all know what's wrong with the season. But
we want UAB to win as many games in whatever sport as humanly possible. But I do think it's a good exercise to think through what is best for this UAB football program. Like ultimately, if UAB is able to win these next 2 games, loses the next 3, they finish the year with 3 wins. They go whatever it is, 3-9. You know, what does really those 2 wins do? What's the difference of 3-9 and 1-11? I don't know. But if UAB is able to, in my opinion, finish out 6-6, 5-7, I mean, that's 5-7 ain't horrible. That would be 1 game below what I projected of 6-6, I believe.
Improvement from last year.
That's one step forward for this team and this staff. What bothers me is I'm seeing all these staffing changes across the country of teams that are not performing. DCs, OCs. I'm not calling for anybody's job. I'm not calling for anybody's job. I'm not going to name any names, but to have the performances that UAB's had and not to make a single change, period, is just wild. Like, where is the accountability, period? Like, that's what's driving me like insane. So, like, something has to change. Something.
Yeah, it's obviously like, because it ain't going nothing is going right. It's like when we look at on the film, when we say we don't have an identity, fellas, we don't. We don't run the ball well. We don't stop the run. We don't throw the ball well. We don't stop the pass. We don't force turnovers. Like, but we do turn the ball over. It's like, what do we do well? Jonah DeLunga is our only option here, And I'm being serious. Like, if this, I want people to know, like, this isn't even like criticism of the person. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Like, especially after the whole thing with John, that thing we talked about it at the presser. I've been trying to make sure I come in here and I'm like, I'm gonna keep my personal feelings, because to me that crossed the line on a personal level. You never heard nothing back from him, and we had already been dealing with stuff behind the scenes, with that. So I think we already had our feelings and how we felt. We was really trying to keep everything under wraps. So now we coming in here. We're not trying to come. You might see the bias come out. You might see how we kind of feel personally. It might seep out some. But that's because it built up. But when I talk about, just the success and the competition, I'm not talking about the person. This is something that I would tell somebody that's on the staff, that's my friend or something like that. I would tell them straight up, like, hey, man, probably want to start watching your back, because this doesn't look good at all. You know what I'm saying? At all. And there needs to be accountability. If I wasn't a fan of the team, or if something would have to change, like, and so I mean,
how am I supposed to be, for the people that get upset about this kind of conversation? Like, for any of us that just work in corporate America, if we were to not perform and execute at the level that was expected of us, do we get a buyout? Do we get five, we get $4 million? Nope. Like, we would go in the unemployment office. So It's like, come on, man. Like, it's like that you make the kind of money that you make, and it comes with the criticism. And I honestly believe that Trent knows that. I think it's hard. I think Darian, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we talked about this a while ago. Like, it's hard on families. Like, it's hard if people were like, Jimmy's the worst co-host of the Blazer Victory podcast ever. Like, Natalie wouldn't want to hear that. And like Shanika wouldn't want to hear people dog Darian about his performance on the field or on this podcast. Elizabeth as well. So it's like harder on like the families. I think most of the coaches like get it, and like it's a wins or losses business. I think even AK said that going back to our most recent episode with him. So it's like, I do believe that changes need to be made all the way at the top. But if somebody were to argue, okay, well, no, not all the way at the top, but there needs to be changes here and there, at other position coaches or coordinator level, like that to me is like just minimum. Like, there has to be some type. We were saying that last year, right? We were saying that, I think, after the North Texas game ended or whatever it was, we were like, hey, you got to make a change somewhere. Double down. Like, no real change.
When was the last time we allowed under 30 points?
This past week, I think we allowed 0.
Did we? We lost commits. I don't know.
Yeah, we did. We did go to negative.
I guess Alcorn, but I guess we're referring to FBS.
How much did Temple put up on us last year?
Our last win. You would think I would remember that.
That is our last FBS win.
Our last FBS win. I'm looking at the wrong year.
Temple got 24, so we held them under 30.
So that was probably our only game we held an FBS opponent under. And that's kind of a shame in itself, because there was already a not good Temple team that was banged up really bad. Mm-hmm. They were banged up at receiver, on the offensive line. They still put up 24 points on us, But all that to say is, like, I feel like any other school, the DC would have at least been let go. And everything I know about Sione is he's a great guy. He's a great man. Like, he doesn't have an ego.
Tony Dungy
Huh?
He's like Tony Dungy.
Yeah, I think Tony Dungy is a good man. But, like, as a person, he's a great guy. But I'm going to just say this. I'm going to say this part out loud. It's like, but if we just look at the games, we look at the scores, like, we haven't done good defensively, period. We were a defensive team, and it just wasn't, please, I wish they would spare me with the whole competition thing. Like, oh, we moved up to another conference. We've been getting our ass run by everybody. Like, ULM put up 32 on us. ULM, they've been winning games like 13-9. Like they beat us 32-6. Like all the Sunbelt teams put up 30 plus on us. So I don't really want to hear the step up in competition part. North Texas was a losing team last year. They put up how many? Like almost 50 on us. So let's stop, please stop with the whole competition thing. It was other schools that came over from CUSA with us, and they've been putting up same amount of points as the original AAC schools. So I don't want to hear that. We haven't been good on defense, and we've had good defensive players. Shout out to BJ Mays, right? 2 picks with Texas A&M. He was on UAB. D-Mac is a starter for UCF.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, real quick, let's talk about that, because didn't Trent say something along the lines of, and I wish I had the quote, Jimmy, you might remember it, but about the guys that transferred out, like they weren't going to get either playing time, or we're not going to miss them, basically. And you look at a guy like BJ Mays in particular, working his ass off to get in that starting rotation in Texas A&M, and getting 2 interceptions against LSU this past Saturday night. Hats off to him, man. Hats off to him.
Yeah, well, they've been really good about the Jalen Key transfer. 2 years ago when he went to Bama, they talked about that, and he was happy for him, which was great. And Jalen Key, drafted by the Jets, had a great senior season. And then what you're referencing, John, was it had to be around January or sometime this previous offseason when TJ Jones hit the portal, but then came back, and someone had asked him, and he had said something on the lines of like, hey, TJ Jones is really like the guy that we wanted back, like alluding to, like there was no reference to BJ Mays like ever, not in the same way that, certainly that Jalen Key was talked about. And if we had to guess, it was likely not the outcome that he went to a P4 school. It might be the reason why he went, or maybe the way that he handled it, or whatever it was, which maybe handling it more transactional, which again is the more so the nature of college athletics. And I'm going to continue to be just interested. I'd love to hear from other fan bases, like successful fan bases, not successful fan bases, to understand like what the emphasis is and how much talk there is about a lot of the off the field stuff. Of course, I think that other programs, I would not be surprised to hear, yes, they value tidying up their locker room or leaving things better than where they found them, or, doing community service. Like, we all understand the importance of that, but how much that's spoken about, like in lieu of talking about the games, like I don't listen to other pressers. I don't listen to other fan podcasts. I just wonder like how much that's emphasized. And then beyond that, like how much that really is going to lead to like wins and losses. Because again, if UAB wanted to be the number one community service and number one, GPA and all this stuff, you could spend a lot less money to bring somebody in here that could enforce like that type of stuff. And so at the end of the day, that's not what we love. We love and appreciate that. But it's just like, it's almost, forgive me for those I'm going to piss off by saying this, almost like sometimes like a deflection of like what's actually happening. And so I want all of those things to happen as much as possible, but I also want the team to be performing at a level that's at bare minimum. To Darian's point earlier, we're talking about bowl eligibility like we had under Clark. Like I don't want those things to go away. It's not that it's not important, but I'm just curious like how much we're going to continue to talk about high school culture and all of these things versus on the field becoming professional. All that stuff is important, but we just got to start winning some games, I guess, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was just going to say really quick. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
No, you go ahead, bro.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, obviously from the top down, the coaching is atrocious these last 2 seasons. But honestly, now I think the talent evaluation is poor right now, at least as pertaining to those guys that transferred out. And we also didn't even mention what was the kid's name, the wide receiver that transferred to Cincinnati? He's making plays.
Jamoy Mays.
Yeah.
Fred Ferrier, Kentucky.
Yeah, Fred. Like, come on, man. And then the guys that we bring in, we're not going to say specifically, but in general, have the guys that they brought in to contribute right away. That was his words. have they contributed right away in a positive way collectively, or as much as we anticipated, or as he anticipated? No. So, I
And
mean,
they talk so much about the personnel department and like how many hours and days
yes,
and weeks and relentless hours and how their process of like, just evaluating the person and all this stuff. And it's like, again, none of that matters if you're not winning. Like, and it just seems like a lot of just when you're losing, no matter if it was this staff or any other staff, it just seems like a lot of talk. So it's nothing personal. It's just like,
yeah,
I guess, just don't want to hear it. We just want
right.
to see us win,
And then to hear NIL.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear about none of that stuff because when
Yeah.
I look at the film, and I think that's why it's important to look at the film. When we look at the film, we see mistake after mistake after mistake. To me, that's saying that something's not translating coaching. Something's not translating. It's like, I don't know if it's your motivation or your ability to be He said that one of his best gifts was being like translatable. Well, it's not translating for whatever, somewhere in the communication, like from the top down communication, is getting lost somewhere, and it's happening at every position. Every position, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, something that is not right, and it needs to be handled some kind of way, So to me, I don't even think it's hard for me to say, oh, it's the talent. I don't think that. I really don't. I think that this team is underachieving, and then a lot, and it can be more than just coaching them about football. It can be some stuff that's going on in that locker room stuff, culture, that buzzword that people really don't know what that means, but has all this, that can be a big part of it. It can be some cancerous stuff going on. You can say one thing, and I've criticized Trent for saying this because he does talk a lot. He has good media training, and when he does talk, it sounds good. Like, he can put things together. The thing is, if you say something like how we're going back and we're looking back months late, like, hey, you said this, now it's that. You said it was this, now you're saying that it's that.
Right.
Now you don't have any credibility. We don't trust you because we're not dumb, and we're going to hold you accountable for that, right? So now it's hard to kind of look and be like, is it you? Is it you? Are you telling them one thing, and then something else is happening, behind the scenes? Because we would never know that. We would never know. We don't have that many sources to know that part. But
yeah, we might need to do a Patreon.
I don't have that. I don't have enough, and then from certain people that could be their view of it. That can't, because the truth is always. I'm trying to just be fair, as we talk about it. But it seems like it may be something else going on. That's why we keep on asking, like, this stuff, like injury wise and what we do. That stuff just seems so, like, why is it so mysterious? You're making us ask questions. We're not dumb. We're not stupid.
Right.
We can. What's going on?
And we're going to ask it respectfully, and that's what I've been doing at these pressers. I'm going to ask it respectfully.
And the criticisms we're saying now, are they not valid criticisms? It's not like we're saying something to disrespect somebody like he did you that time when you tried to help him. We're not trying to do anything to disrespect anybody. That's never our goal. We want this team to win, damn it. Like, we want
makes it easier on us. Makes it easier on us.
Right. Like, come on, man. Help us out.
Yeah. One thing, I guess maybe like the last thing I'll say on this is that, the whole hire, like the assumed thought was that the Trent Dilfer hire would be a splash hire. It would create this buzz and conversation. I remember early on they were talking about the social media impressions that they were getting, like post the Trent Dilfer hire. And to me, you can never guarantee wins or losses. Any hire, they could have hired the most experienced candidate ever, and we could be sitting in the same position because that's just how wonky things work out sometimes. But what has been surprising to me above all else is like there's no more buzz about the UAB football program. There's no more butts in seats. There's no more, from what we can tell, NIL. And
Recruiting.
that has been
We
recruiting has
got like
been
one recruit
horrendous
commit. It's the
Awful.
Yeah.
worst I've ever seen it here.
under any coach, under any situation.
And Tristan has been here for a long time. This is not Tristan. I can tell you
No
that.
doubt. Not a single
He's
bit.
been one of our best guys recruiting. This started with this staff,
Yeah.
So let's be clear on that. Shout out to Tristan. I know what he can do because he's done it plenty of times.
And you're seeing the communication. You alluded to it, Darian, is that if you're all misaligned, you're not rowing in the same direction. This is the outcome that you get. You saw it on the field first, and now it's bled into the recruiting, and you've got people coming in that aren't experienced, that don't know what they're doing, and you've got communication that's poor, and it's leading to these outcomes here, there, and everywhere, and it's just remarkable where we are currently. And so, I would love for us to win some games. Maybe that would help give some clarity to the people that are making decisions. But our athletic director went out and tried to make a splash, and this program is now drowning because of this head coaching hire. And I hope if we don't win these next few games, if the football staff isn't going to make a change, the administration needs to make a change. Somebody needs to make a change somewhere, because this cannot go on any longer. And with that being said, November 4th at 6:30 p.m., the UAB basketball team plays Vermont. Show the hell up. Pack Bartow.
Hey, yes, 100%. And hey, I think the lower bowl is about to be sold out soon. All right, it might already be by the time we drop this. Last question. We need to wrap. Does UAB football get a win this Saturday against Tulsa? Darian, just yes or no? We don't have to say a score prediction, but do they get it done on the field?
This will be my last opportunity to say that we are. So I'm going to believe because there's players on that team that I do believe in, and I see them playing hard. I see a lot of mistakes and everything. So, all the things we said, I'm gonna go back to this. We still root for them to be successful, not just the players, but the staff. So if the staff can be successful, that means UAB football is being successful. I would put whatever personal, hey, be an a-hole to John all you want to if you're winning games. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, John, you can be the sacrificial lamb here. So
hey, I'll take it, man. If they win out, hey, we talked about getting the tattoos on our butts. That's not going to happen if they lost, but I mean, hey, let's right this ship. I don't think it'll happen, but
yeah, but we can be real with how we feel though. Like, I think a lot of times people get butthurt and be like, "Well, y'all didn't believe." No. We was just telling them how we feel. We were going, y'all can shut up. If y'all feel like that, don't even listen to us, because we're gonna keep it real and we're gonna be as respectful as we can. I promise you. But all of our criticisms have some type of evidence. This isn't us just talking. We don't want to be that way. So, do I want the team to win? Yes. Do I think that's the only game that I think they'll be able to win based off what we've seen all year? Absolutely. Yeah, I would be a fool to think otherwise. Look, we're not even competing. We getting our brains beat out. We losing to bad teams. We out batted the team. So I will be very happy if we get this win. I'm not going to say I expect this win, but if I had to predict us, I would predict for us to win, I guess.
Jimmy, what's your quick thought?
I feel like I'm in a straitjacket, like in a padded room. Like I'm sitting here trying to say yes or no, and my head is saying yes. Like you cannot lose to Tulsa at home on homecoming. They're not overall a substantially better football team than UAB, even in its present state. So it's like, yes, UAB football win this game, but I have this urge, like this internal from my heart, where I'm like, no. Like, we've been playing so poorly, like it's hard to envision us beating anyone. We have not beaten an FBS opponent since November 18th of 2023. It's been a full calendar year.
We don't know what it feels like. Like,
I'm like,
a foreign feeling. I understand.
Yeah, so I will say yes, but who the hell knows?
Yeah, I'm hopeful, but I do not think they'll get it done. I don't know. I hope to be wrong. Come recap episode, they get a win, but I don't think they get it done.
Yeah, we'll drink anyway. So
there you go. Hey, Cahaba, shout out to Cahaba. Hey, everybody go to Cahaba after the game, so that'll be fun. All right, guys. This will do it for this episode. We'll be back next week. Talk some football, talk some basketball, but as always, just Blaze, and thank you for the support.